I've been doing my brows a little bit differently and I wanted to share with you my new routine. I've been trying that fluffy brow look that kind of looks laminated, I guess. I don't wear this look every day because it is a little bit more on the dramatic side and I think I'm not fully used to seeing it on myself, but it is just fun to play around with different looks. I'm gonna first start by putting on some base makeup really quickly. Now we can move on to the brows. So there are many ways that you can achieve that fluffy brow look. I've tried the soap bar method, which personally wasn't my favorite because it just felt very heavy and chunky on my eyebrows and on my face, but it might have just been the soap that I used. I've also heard really great things about the Got2b spiking glue for hair. I've heard that's amazing at holding your brows up and in place. I've gone to the store to look for that product a few times and it's either sold out or I can't find it or they just don't have it there, so unfortunately I haven't been able to try that method. I've been doing my brows with Patrick Ta's shaping wax and I'm using the clear shade. In order to activate this product, you do need to spray some setting spray on it, or I've used face mist. You can do water. I'm just gonna spray right into the pan here. Take a spoolie, go back and forth, and then brush through your brow hairs. Make sure that every strand is coated. And it does go on waxy at first, so you might see some wax chunks in there, but as it dries, the wax really just dissipates. It'll still feel waxy, but you won't see those big chunks in there. I have very coarse brow hairs, so they are a bit thicker, and I don't know if that's actually easier or more difficult to work with compared to softer brow hairs. I do think the thicker hairs gives it that very laminated strand look, even when I don't do the fluffy brow method. So I think I've coated every strand pretty well. Next, just take the end of a brush and brush those strands upwards and out. Then I like to take another spoolie, one that doesn't have wax on it, and I just brush down the tops of the hairs like this. I actually saw Patrick Ta do this in one of his tutorials, and at first I thought it was so counterproductive, but I realized it's because you want the bottom half of your hair strands to go straight up and be covered in wax, but you want the top parts to still look nice and fluffy and natural and not super pressed against your skin. Now we're gonna give it some time to just dry a little bit. I really like using pomade to fill them in. You can use a pen or brush, whatever you're most comfortable with. You can also use pencil, but I've learned if you're using pencil, you should do that first before applying the shaping wax. So I'm just gonna show you my method, which is with the pomade, and I'm using the Anastasia one in the shade Ebony, which is like the second darkest shade. It's like a really soft black. And I'm using my Sigma winged liner brush to fill in my brows. This is a really thin, fine, angled brush, and it's perfect for making those hair-like strokes. So I have some product on the cap already. I'm just gonna take from there, making sure that the brush is covered in product. And I know with pomade, they do tend to dry out, so I do use the Inglot Duraline solution. I just do a couple drops right into the jar, and it just brings life back into it. For this look, I would say definitely play around with what kind of texture you want the pomade to be. I've tried it with both, where the pomade is more liquidy and more soft. I've tried it when it's a bit more dry, and I find like the middle ground where it's not too dry and not too liquidy is the best for me. So I'm gonna start on this brow first, and I'm gonna start in the outer half of my brow where I'm lacking the most hair. And you can see that my brow hairs are going in that direction. I'm pretty much just going to follow that. And I'm going to do long strokes. Before I tried to do shorter, smaller strokes, but I find that the longer ones make it look more natural. Once I have like a good enough guideline, I like to go towards the front and fill in empty, sparse areas. So like here I have some space, here, and then towards the front of my brows too. And again, just doing light, long strokes like this. And then for the end of my brows, I also like to have some strokes going down to shape it just a little bit. Now I'm just gonna go to the other side and do the exact same thing. And sometimes I like to go across like this, very lightly on the bottom to shape it a little bit. This helps it just to be a tiny bit more defined. And then sometimes towards the front, I'll go in with the spoolie with no wax and brush it up a little bit to soften it. And so it's not so like blocky towards the front. I find that's like the trickiest part, is making the front of your brows look soft. I'm going to just add a little bit of concealer underneath that brow. It just helps to highlight it and make it pop a little bit more. You don't want it to do too much because you want that fluffy, like organic brow look. So don't try to cut it too much. Okay, now I'm just going to put on a little bit of eye makeup and I will be right back. So here's the final look. Super bushy brows. What do you think? There are times that I love it and times where I'm just so not used to it. I mean, I grew up in the 90s when thin brows were in. I definitely overplucked mine, have areas that didn't grow back. So it does take some getting used to for me because they just look so big to me sometimes, like little pet caterpillars. But at the same time, I also kind of like it. So I think it's just me trying to get used to it. I do want to say that you should definitely modify this look to what you're comfortable with and what you think looks good on you, and also just what you like the most. It doesn't have to look exactly like what you see in the photos or what you see online, because eyebrow trends come and go. I think I've been through about 3 or 4 different eyebrow trends, and so if this doesn't work for you, the next one probably will. And while it's so fun to play around with different looks and different trends, I don't think anything beats the natural classic look. If you've ever seen Love Island, I think it's season 10 that I watched. I really just feel like Shawnee's Fudge right now with these eyebrows and the slicked back hair. It was totally her look. That's gonna be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Let me know what you think about this bushy brow look. Or do you have a favorite brow look? Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe below if you want to see more videos from me. You can also follow me on Instagram at HeySandyLynn, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.